Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Calgary Barbell. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about deadlifting. I know last week we put out a video on hook grip and how to stop dropping your deadlifts. This week we're going to talk a little bit more about deadlifting again. Now one of the things that when I first started training, I was using 5-3-1 as a program, and I think a lot of people start off there. Now 5-3-1 is a great program for a beginner. My only quarrel with it is that the frequency is a little bit low. One of the things that I noticed was it didn't take long before my lifts started to peter out and sort of plateau a little bit. One thing that changed fairly soon afterwards, as soon as I started working with my first coach, was I started squatting and benching and deadlifting a lot more than once a week. Especially I noticed in the deadlift, and I didn't see a lot of people doing this at the time, but I was deadlifting 2 or 3 times a week. Now, when I finished doing 5-3-1, I think my deadlift was about 500 pounds. And within about a year of working with other coaches and doing more sort of soul training programming, I ended up with a 639 pound deadlift. Now, I think one of the biggest contributing factors to that jump in performance was simply deadlifting more often. And this is something I see a lot of sort of aversion to, or a lot of opposition to the idea that you should deadlift more than even once a week in some cases. I see a lot of people say things like, if you want to squat more, you got to squat more. And there's programs like Squat Every Day. There's a lot of people that are starting to get on board with increasing their bench frequency, benching 2, 3, 4 times a week to try and get their bench to keep moving. But I think for some reason there's this stigma about deadlifting more often. So guys like Donnie Thompson are really bad for perpetuating this sort of ideal that you can squat 4 times a week and you can good morning every day, but if you deadlift more than once every 6 weeks, your spine's gonna explode and you'll spontaneously combust. This is not the case. You can deadlift more often than that. One of the things that I'm going to suggest to you guys today is to try deadlifting more often. You can deadlift more than once a week and your back's not gonna just straight up explode. There's no reason why deadlifting should be that much more inherently dangerous or taxing than squatting more often or benching more often. As long as your movement pattern is sufficient, you should be totally fine to do more than 1 deadlift a week. So I'm going to propose a couple of ways that you guys can work this into your training and a couple of ways we can try to increase your deadlift frequency. So I'm going to give 3 different examples. If you are a fairly typical West Side or conjugated style training, if you're doing like a max effort, dynamic effort day, just shift those movements that you're doing more towards like a specific deadlift. So throw in some stiff-legged deadlifts as an accessory for some of your hypertrophy work. Do more deadlifts on your speed days. Do more block pulls or deadlift against bands, deadlift against chains on your max effort days. If you're more of a strict sort of percentage linear periodization kind of trainee, start throwing in some light, maybe 65 to 75% deadlifts for volume. 2, 3 sets of 5 on a second day, and gradually work that up. If you're doing kind of training like what I'm doing, where you're doing a number of variations throughout the week, try some pause deadlifts. Put some pause deadlifts in there on a second day and use that to supplement your main deadlift day. Another thing you can also do, like I proposed for the linear periodization people that are more based off of percentages and that kind of thing, is regardless of what type of trainee you are, just pepper in some light volume. You can add volume to your program in such a way that it's not going to have a significant impact on your recovery, but it's going to allow you to practice the skill of deadlifting more often. It's going to allow you to accumulate more volume with a little bit more recovery between sessions as opposed to just putting it all into one session. And it will allow you to hopefully progress your deadlift if you're feeling stalled. So long story short, one simple way, if you have a stalled deadlift, try deadlifting more often. Your back's not going to explode, you're not going to die, you're not going to drive yourself into the ground and never be able to recover, because deadlifting is so much more taxing on your system than anything you could ever do. Just deadlift more often. I promise it won't kill you. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about things, comment below, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time.